What is going on, melon farmers? DMac back with a quick little gameplay sliders video. I know a ton of people have been asking for it. I've gotten a bunch of comments. Everyone's like, where's the sliders videos? What kind of sliders are you using? So you know what? Screw it this time. We're very quickly going to jump into our settings and I'll show you what sliders that I personally enjoy. You know what? This time I think we're going to start with Be a Pro. So we'll go into quick settings. I'm just going to go through all of them real. Oh, no, that was the wrong one. Hey, look at that. We got bloopers. One to game settings. That's the one. Okay, period length. I'm going to toss that one up to, I do 10 minutes. Camera. I wish I could do true broadcast, but I just can't do it. Dynamic low, or dynamic medium is fine. Dynamic low for the shootout, totally fine. Line changes, auto, obviously, that's just totally fine. So we'll get out of this one. The next one we're going to go into is rules. On ice trainer, shut all that stuff off if you'd like. Fighting 2 out of 2, that's fine. There is actually quite a bit of fighting going on. You know what I mean? There is actually quite a bit of fighting. So the penalty time scaling, 3 out of 6 is fine. Post whistle rules relaxed. Coincidental penalty time, I like to put that at 3 as well, so it goes just a little bit faster, like 4-on-4s, you know what I mean? Injuries on, offsides delayed, hybrid icing, all that's fine. Now we get into the meat and potatoes of it. Let's go to the gameplay sliders. This is what everybody came for. So when you're starting your Be a Pro, you're only going to be like 67, maybe 68 overall, you know what I mean? So for your first year, I would honestly leave the attribute effects at 5 out of 10 and would put broken stick frequency down a little bit. The game speed, I'm going to say drop it to like 2. 4 is really fast, and it is more exciting when you have the speed up at 4 out of 6. The game's really fast. The problem is you're going to risk injury like crazy. So I'd put it down to 2. You are going to notice you get hurt a whole lot less if you just slow that game down a little bit. Fatigue effect, we put that up for both human and CPU. Recovery, put that down to like 60 for both human and CPU. Injury occurrence, I'm going to say for CPU and human, put that down to about 45. I know a lot of people are like, well, the only way you can avoid injuries is if you put the human injury occurrence at like 0. And it's like, no. You need to learn how to do things better. But yes, your skating and everything, all that's totally fine. And this is year 1, right? This is year 1. Shooting, everything's fine. Everything's fine. You don't really have to change anything. One thing I might say to do is take the CPU aggression and turn it down to about 45. That way you don't have like 3 guys all the time, like just rushing you at all times. Penalties are fine. AI learning. CPU difficulty adjustment, leave on 0 for your rookie season. And then we're going to go back to the beginning. And now we're getting into like year 2 of the Be a Pro, right? So now you're in like the mid, and if you play all the games, you're going to grow a lot faster, right? So you could be in like the mid to high 70s at this point. I'm going to say for the rest of your career, basically, you could put attribute effects. I usually put them at 9 or 10. But I'm honestly going to say put them at about 7. Broken stick frequency is going to be fine. Once you get to year 2, 3, 4, the game is naturally going to start speeding up again. So you can leave it at 2. You might be fine with that. You could even drop it down to 1, but I'd say leave it at 2. Fatigue effect and CPU effect, or fatigue effect and fatigue recovery, I'm going to say leave those pretty much where they are. I like when you get tired and then it takes a little longer to get all your energy back. Otherwise, I think you recover too fast. Again, the skating and everything is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The shooting, once you get into your second year, your third year, your fourth year, I'm going to say drop the accuracy of shots, like your slap shot, your wrist shot, your one-timer, all that stuff. You can leave the power exactly where it is, but I would drop the accuracy a bit, because otherwise there's just going to be way too many goals. Puck control and all that stuff is fine. Goalie cover frequency, I would put that one up to like 50. Goalie passing, put that one down to like 75. And that's where you're going to want to start putting like reaction times up by a few. And as you get into later seasons on your Be a Pro, you're going to want to put that goaltender's, like the reaction times and stuff, cross crease, goalie save, deflection reaction, stuff like that. You're going to want to keep putting it up more and more and more as time goes on. I've gotten to like 12, 13, 14 years into a Be a Pro, and I've got the goalie reaction time up at like 58, sometimes even 60, because it's like the game just gets faster. Everybody gets better. Goals go in easier, you know? It seems like goaltenders get a little worse. But now, when we go to the AI thing, and again, like I said, I showed you guys year one. Now we're going a couple years further. You're probably in like the low to mid 80s. The game's getting a little easier. Maybe put it up to 2 out of 6 for difficulty adjustment. Or turn it to superstar difficulty. That is always an option as well. And then once you're like 90 something overall and all, like, you know, several years down the line, you're like year 5, year 6, maybe put it up to 3 out of 6. Because the game, as soon as you hit like 85 overall, the game gets too easy. And it's like, you've seen DMac. It's like, I've made the sliders more and more and more difficult, but it just does not seem to matter. Like, every shot you take is going to go in the net. Anyway, so those are the sliders for the Be a Pro. Now we're going to get to my absolute favorite. Boom. Did that reset everything? I believe it did, right? General? Yes, it did. Okay, so now go back into rules. The rules are honestly fine. I'm going to throw it out there and say, if you're going to do a franchise mode, I would stick... Yeah, I would stick with All-Star. Superstar is kind of dumb. Like, you're going to be pretty hard-pressed to make the playoffs on Superstar. I don't know. It's just, I want it to be more enjoyable. You know what I mean? Okay, so we'll go to game settings here for franchise mode. Instead of 10 minutes, I personally like to do it for 7-minute periods. And when you do 7-minute periods, I find you end the game if you do it, if you play it like it's a real hockey game, right? And if you're this is if you're playing the games on franchise mode, which I do. I have a franchise mode. I am currently in the Stanley Cup Finals in year 4. And I'm... What was I about to say? I totally lost... Oh, the shots on goal. That's what I was talking about. Okay, I'm not even going to cut that out. It's just funny. The shots on goal typically are, I don't know, like 32 to 30. Or, you know, like 37 to 29, stuff like that. So there is quite a few shots on goal. But for this one, I'm going to go dynamic high for the camera. Dynamic low for shootout, that's fine. But... I personally, even for home and away line changes, I like to do it manually. I like to do my line changes. I hate it when I got the puck, I'm going up the ice, I'm on a rush, and all of a sudden, the guy that's with me just like turns away and goes for a line change. Now I'm all alone looking for someone to go to, and it's like a 1-on-4. You know what I mean? So I like the manual line changes. So I can hit center, dump it down the ice, then I can do wholesale changes on my own, and that way I can time them right so that the people are getting appropriate ice time every game, right? Otherwise, you got like really weird ice time. You'll have a guy on the top line who gets like 13 minutes a game. A guy on the 4th line gets 13. A guy in the 3rd line plays 18-30. You know what I mean? It's all over the place, and I'm kind of a stickler for stuff like that, and I like to be in full control of the ice time of my players. Okay, so now that we've ranted about that for a while, rules. I think that's all pretty much good to go. Again, we'll have this on all-star difficulty. And again, bread and butter, baby. Let's go to the gameplay sliders. I use the latest gameplay version. I know sometimes when you're using the latest gameplay version, that gets kind of irritating after a while. So the attribute effects, I would put at like 8 out of 10. Broken stick frequency, yet again, and put that down. Broken glass on. Game speed, I would say put it all the way down to 1. It's a lot different game when you're controlling the entire team. Fatigue effect, I'd put it up to about 48 for everybody. Recovery down to about 58. So you really do have to be a little bit more careful. And my big thing when it comes to franchise mode is a little piece of advice for everybody. Don't be so heavy on the speed burst. You just kill your lines. Everybody's dead. You'll get to the point where there's like 8 minutes left in a period and you have no lines. Like every player on your team is dead. Injury occurrence. This one, just put down to like 47. Honestly, the thing is, if you're getting injured all the time, it's your fault. You need to slow down. You need to stop putting yourself in positions where you're going to get absolutely rocked all the time. When it comes to the skating, now this is one that people might not care about so much. I would take the CPU skating speed and the skating agility and put it one lower than human, because I found if you don't go heavy on the speed burst, the other team's players are slightly faster than you, especially with attribute effects up higher. For whatever reason, your opponent just seems to be a little bit faster than you at all times. So when you put their skating agility and skating speed even down just by 1, it kind of makes it more even, to be 100% honest. Now, for the shooting, put everything down by 3. That way, whoops, not the shot power though. You leave that alone. Slap shot accuracy can also go down. Everything down by about 3, because otherwise you're going to have some crazy high-scoring games. In my opinion, the passing is totally fine. I got no problem with that. Puck control, totally fine. But then when we get to the goalies, for franchise mode especially, you're going to want to put like goalie cover frequency up to like 60, goalie passing down to about 80, goalie cross-crease reaction time for year 1, I'd put it at 52. But then once you get into later years, you're going to want to put it up to like 54. You know what I mean? But when you're just starting out, I do 52. You know what? Actually, year 1, you could get away with just leaving it at the default. But me personally, I like to do 52. It makes your goalie look better. It makes all the goalies in the game look a little better. There are still a lot of goals. Now, when we go to the checking sliders, again, for CPU, turn that aggression down. I would actually say maybe even to like 42. Because you know when you get the puck at the blue line or something like that, and it seems like their whole team just rushes you, just like immediately rushes you? Well, then you put the aggression down a little bit. It's more realistic in the sense that when you get the puck at the point, they're more apt to stay a foot or so back and just have that stick out. They're just trying to clog up passing lanes and stuff, which is a little more realistic. Otherwise, they just come in for a check, no matter what. Like immediately they come in to check you. So if you put that aggression down a little bit, 42 might be a little much. Maybe we will put that back up to like 45. But it just makes them stay back just a hair. So it's easier to cycle a little bit, you know, and they'll still clog up the front of the net. They'll make it hard for you to find shots on goal and stuff like that, but they're not just like open ice bombing you every 2 seconds, you know what I mean? But that would be the only thing that I would change in aggression. Penalties, totally fine, don't care. CPU difficulty adjustment, I would put that at a 2 out of 6. Make the other team a little bit harder to play against. Even on all-star difficulty, if you just toss it up to 2 out of 6, it does make the game feel a lot more realistic in the sense that if you make an expansion franchise, you don't really have the greatest team in the universe. There is a chance you might not make the playoffs, and that's playing every single game, you know what I mean? So that's the way I would do it that way. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That would be my gameplay sliders for Be a Pro and franchise mode, and even tried to explain to you what to do as the years go on, because it's like in the first year, the top scorer on your team is going to have 80 points or, you know, maybe 90 points, something like that. You might get like a wild card spot or something if you don't have the greatest team in the world. But then once you get into year 2, you're going to notice, well, goals are going in pretty damn easy right now. Like we're getting like 5-6 goals a game here. And then you'll notice your goaltender's letting in way more goals than you think he should as well. So it's like, that's where you go into shooting accuracies and put them down a little bit. That's where you go into the goalies, put the reaction times up a little bit, you know, and then it's like, okay, well, the goalies are doing a little better now. The game's still difficult, but I'm winning more games. Put the goalie reaction times up. It's like, okay, well, now I'm getting 3 goals a game. I'm getting 4 goals a game. I'm not getting 7 every night. We're not allowing 5 every night, you know. It's like the score is more like 4-2. 3-1, you know, maybe you'll get like a 5 5-0 victory, or you'll lose like 3-0 or 4-0. And it's just a more realistic feel overall. Anyway, this has been a long time coming. I know it's like mid-January right now, so this video should have been up like 2 months ago. Anyway, these are basically what I'm rocking these days, and I am having a lot of fun with it. So I hope you guys enjoy it too. Leave me a comment down below about what you would change about any of these sliders. I'm just showing you guys essentially what I do. So anyway, that is going to do it for me for this one. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. There's new videos coming all the freaking time. And until next time, you beautiful melon farmers, have yourselves a good one.